Hey everybody, Quantum here, and this is going to be game number 2 with us using the Ruby Steel Mulan Challenger oriented deck, and my opponent is going to be on a more mid-range version of the Dwarven Mine deck that is Amber Steel. If you haven't seen game 1, make sure you check that out because there's some pretty cool interactions that happen there. We won on the draw in that matchup, so now we're going to be on the play for game number 2. We start off with a Robin Hood, and playing this match made me realize, like, against other steel decks, especially Amber Steel, where they play Cindy and Storm, Strength, etc., the Robin Hood package, whether you're on the play or on the draw, is still kind of weak since it does get stormed. You might be better off going for a Mickey Mouse line because the Mickey Mouse has resist, Food Fight Defender. But regardless here, we don't really have a really good turn 2 play because our Queen of Hearts is mainly for going second. That's how we were actually able to claw back advantage if you watch game number 1. Queen of Hearts, I keep talking about this, a really good going second card to just not dominate the board state, but generate enough advantage that you can kind of equalize the board state and neutralize a little bit that going first advantage that your opponent might have when you're on the draw. So my opponent here, again, very smart play, knowing that the Robin Hood shift will be coming next turn, ends up singing Storm with Cindy, gets the free redraw. That's really good advantage off for them. So, despite going second, they get a really good turn 2 interaction and then develop a Smee, which again is pretty good. Turn 1 Cindy for the draw, and then turn 2 Smee, still very, very strong. Thankfully, here you can see the value of the Queen of Hearts coming down, instantly taking out that Cindy, and then we quest with the Mulan, simply because if the Smee wants to challenge into either one of these characters, the Smee will likely get banished when it takes its extra point of damage at the end of the turn, unless my opponent has a captain character, which is unlikely. They're going to drop a dock on 3, which is going to set them up for a potential 1 turn early play of a 5-cost character, playing it on turn 4, and that can be a little bit of a problem. I am waiting to see some of my more relevant characters here because now I don't have the Robin Hood shift line. I might opt to ink the Robin Hood here because going for the Mulan next turn might be pretty good. So here you're going to see me drop the Super Goof, and this is another great interaction with Super Goof that you can get off of the Smee. Queen of Hearts will trade out with it, Smee we'll trade out with the Smee, and then the Super Goof will actually trade positively into an exerted Smee since it likely already has 1 damage, and then the Super Goof comes in. So yeah, I've got a board. My opponent doesn't. They went first, so they have, they equalize card advantage a little bit because of the Storm. That's how good that interaction is with Cindy. But yeah, when you see them challenge, you're like, okay, yeah, it's Rapunzel, right? So they get a Rapunzel, draw 2 off. They take out my Super Goof in the process, so that was a really nice interaction and follow-up play by my opponent there. Really strong interaction. Sorry, I was on the play. What am I saying? They were on the draw, so they have the extra card. We're going to end up utilizing our whole hand, inking the card we drew for turn, shifting the Mulan, and then singing a whole new world. So the Rapunzel draw seemingly is neutralized here, and that's really good. Unfortunately, the dock being healed up means that my Queen of Hearts cannot take it out, so I likely will just quest with the Queen of Hearts. But if I quest with it, here's the thing, right? And I didn't realize this. I wasn't thinking things through. Like, I know this is obviously a thing that can happen, but I was like, okay, quest with the Queen of Hearts, because if they want to challenge it with the dock, that prevents them from getting the extra cost reduction. But then I was like, oh no, wait, they can challenge with the Rapunzel, because Rapunzel still deals 1 damage back, take out my Queen of Hearts, put 2 damage on the Rapunzel, and then it's likely, or not likely, but there's a good chance that they probably drew into a Rapunzel off my wheel. The only thing I'm struggling with this Ruby Steel deck is like finding an alternative draw engine, because I really don't want to run a whole new world in this deck if I can avoid it. And also, I did change the deck from game 1 to game 2 after talking with my friend. I took out the dinner bells and stuff, and I put in One Last Hope. I was calling it 0 to Hero in the first video, but it's One Last Hope, the thing that allows the hero character to challenge readied characters. But yeah, it's not great. So here my opponent ends up going for a Cinderella and a Bagheera play, and I'm like, oh no, like the Bagheera is pretty good here. I'm going to lose my Queen of Hearts no matter what. So I would honestly say, unless the opponent was really hoping to get the damage on the Rapunzel here, they could have just quested with the Rapunzel and gained the lore. Because I have to take out the Bagheera to get through to the rest of your characters. Like, I'm a challenge-based deck, so like I have to run into that Bagheera. And then, it'll take out my Queen of Hearts when it's banished. So like, I get an extra lore if the Queen of Hearts lives because I quest with it first. But here I'm in a really, I don't want to say a big predicament, but kind of a challenging predicament here. Unfortunately, I'm 1 ink short of doing any really nice plays to clean up the board here. The opponent does have a decent sized board. They've clawed their way back into this game, unfortunately, probably off of my wheel. And I didn't actually think everything through entirely. What I should have done here, like I'm 1 ink short from playing the I'm Still Here and the Super Goof. That would have been the ideal line of play. But I stood have still casted the I'm Still Here so that I get resist 2. I can use Mulan to challenge into the Bagheera. I take 2 damage, not 4. And then the Bagheera dealing 2 to the Mulan back will not happen because I have resist plus 2. Yes, the Rapunzel, the Doc, and the Cinderella will live, but that way I save my Mulan. Versus what I do here, in using the Mulan to take out the Bagheera, I take 4 damage, and then the final 2 damage on the Bagheera after it's banished ends up taking out my Mulan, and then I dropped this. Well, I dropped the Super Goof ahead of banishing the Bagheera because after the Mulan challenges the Bagheera, it gives the Goofy the ability to challenge ready characters. So I challenge into the Cindy. So I still reduce their board state, but they have so many cards in hand that like they're just gonna play higher impact cards because now I am the opponent who is playing reactive to their board, which isn't where you want to be, especially when you started the game on the play. My opponent played this matchup really, really well in my opinion, so kudos to him. And I wasn't in an advantageous position, right? I kind of just threw it away from just bad plays, really. So my opponent's going to think for a little bit here. I do end up developing a Smee with the Goofy, so I use up all 6 of my ink. But I think it was a real misplay to not go for that I'm Still Here line. They do indeed have the second Rapunzel. They're going to use the other Rapunzel to take out my Goofy, get some extra damage on it. So I think it had 4 damage total. Then they drop their Rapunzel, heal up their already on board Rapunzel, gain 3 cards because they heal for 3. And then, of course, they're going to have the song removal. And this is why Amber Steel Song is traditionally so strong, right? But, you know, this opponent is not on Amber Steel Song necessarily, although it kind of is a little bit. They've got 2 Rapunzels that are high willpower that can be tough to deal with. I don't have a board. They've got a Doc, reducing the cost of their characters. Not that that really matters at this point anymore, but it may help them develop more than one character in a turn. And we're just not in a really good spot here. So you could argue that I should have just dropped Maui here. And I think I might do that still. But I played the Mulan to see what I can draw. And I have to discard. This Jafar, again, in this scenario, isn't really doing much for me. And, you know, I really didn't want to put Be Prepared in this deck because I'm like, it's a challenge-based deck. But you can just see the value that Be Prepared would get you in pretty much every single scenario. It's just so valuable most of the time. We end up taking out the Doc there. You know, the Rapunzel's and the Doc's quest for 2 at this point. Yes, the Rapunzel has more willpower, but the Doc has a relevant ability when it quests. So I'd rather take that out. But the opponent is still coming up to 7 ink, which puts them in the range of dropping a big character. And I know that they play the new Rhino. They may be playing things like Surfer Stitch, although that's unlikely. But yeah, they go for 6, go for Tinkerbell. The 1 damage comes through on my Mulan, unfortunately. And then the 1 damage comes through on the Maui. And then they Storm Rage the Maui. And this is why Be Prepared can just be so clutch, because as Amber Steel Song, it uses up its resources in order to clear your board. You can follow through with a Be Prepared and, you know, just equalize the game state. We draw the card that we put into the deck. I mean, we took out like Dinner Bells for it, so Dinner Bell or this would have not been great either way. I don't have a play, so I'm going to pretty much have to go for a hard cast Whole New World. I was hoping to sing it with the Maui next turn, or this turn I should say, but it's just not in the cards, literally. So we end up Whole New Worlding, giving my opponent also a fresh 7, which doesn't feel great considering they have big pressure on the board now. I'm going to drop the Queen of Hearts, take out the Smee, because that's really the only thing I can do, and then I can pass turn. Unfortunately, I'm in a position... Oh, yeah, my friend wasn't paying attention, so he didn't draw his 7 yet. Yeah, he discards his hand, which was, I think, 4 or 5 cards, draws his new hand, and I pass turn. What's interesting is I could drop the Scar, clean up the Rapunzels that are going to quest, clean up the Tinkerbell as well, but the opponent has 7 ink. They're going to continue to develop some big threats. They're going to quest for 6 here, put themselves to 14. Yeah, down comes Daisy, down comes Mufasa. That's another 4, so they're going to go to 14. Then they're going to go to 18, and then they continually develop 1-cost characters. Like, could you see how good Be Prepared is in like every scenario, just having it in your back pocket? It would have won me this game like multiple times over. I guess you could say be prepared is the way that bad players are able to come back into games. So, some bad plays on my end, I could have maybe clawed back by having to be prepared. But yeah, the Scar comes in, trades out the exerted field, but that's all of my ink, so I can't really do anything else. And my opponent has game on board, right? Because he has another 4 lore, 2 from Mufasa, 2 from Daisy, 1 from Happy. Sorry, is he only at 14? Wait, is he only at 14? Because I think we wrapped up this game. Oh no, yeah. Sorry, what am I saying? 2 from Daisy, 2 from Mufasa. That's 4, and then 1 from Happy, 1 from Cinderella. So yeah, that's game. That's 6 lore, and he's at 14. Yes. For some reason, kept saying 4, and I thought he was at like 16 or something. But no, yeah. So he had game, and that's going to be a GG. Yeah, I didn't see the Mushu line there, but I don't think it made a difference. My opponent just outplayed me there straight up. So yeah, congrats on that W. And next up is going to be the deck profile video, if you're still with me, and then we're going to showcase some purple steel, which I think is going to be really, really interesting. If you made it this far in the video, thank you again for watching. As usual, Quantum is out, and I hope to see you in the next video.